Good morning, everyone. It is Monday morning here in the Ohio, bright and early, 6 a.m. And it's your buddy Spider. What is this show? Sippin' Coffee with Spider. And I'm sipping coffee. Or maybe you're sipping something else, who cares? Or maybe you're chugging it down like nobody's business. Whatever you want to do. I don't judge. And this is your morning news. I've got all kinds of news for you. Let me just pull up the news aggregate that I use to collect it all and take a look what we've got. WWG with some gaming news. PlayStation Plus finally adding highly requested feature with major caveats. What are they adding? It's going to finally be releasing cloud streaming for PlayStation Plus later this month. This means that subscribers of PS Plus will now be able to play select games without needing to download them natively to their console. And at launch, Sony says it will have a select handful of games from the PS Plus game catalog, game trials, and other titles from the broader PlayStation library available to play. October 30th in North America. The article goes on to say the biggest problem with PlayStation Plus finally giving subscribers access to cloud streaming is twofold. For starters, this feature is solely going to be available on PlayStation 5. So anyone who subbed to the service who only has a PlayStation 4 can't take advantage of this perk. Secondly, cloud streaming is being locked behind the PS Plus premium version of the membership. This is Sony's most expensive tier of the platform and clocks in at a hefty $160 per year. So, but that's kind of, if you're a PlayStation user, you should kind of expect that by now. They have always been very resistant to going backwards on anything or to allowing backwards compatibility with anything. The early consoles were backwards compatible, but then they quickly would release new versions that took out the backwards compatibility, and they would keep on going in that direction. And it seems like more and more every year that they're sticking to their guns, and if you're not playing the most modern version of what they put out, then you're just not playing. That's a Sony thing. Xbox sometimes can do the same thing occasionally, but they've made a broader effort to include older generations in some capacity, either through backwards compatibility or something. So we'll see if that changes in the near future, but it probably won't. I have to assume that if you want the game cloud streaming, then you will have to be on your PlayStation 5. So there we go. Associated Press with an intriguing headline: what Google's antitrust trial means for your search habits. Let me see if this is something that's actually not clickbait, because it sounds a little clickbaity. We'll pull it up and find out here. If government regulators prevail against Google in the biggest U.S. antitrust trial in a quarter century, it's likely to unleash drastic changes that will undermine the dominance of a search engine that defines the internet for billions of people. If they rule that Google has been running an illegal monopoly in search, the punishment could open up new online avenues for consumers and businesses to explore in pursuit of information, entertainment, and commerce. Quote, the judge can compel Google to open the floodgates so more startups and third-party competitors can put greater competitive pressure on Google, which will create higher quality online services, unquote, said Luther Lowe, Senior Vice President of Public Policy at the review site Yelp. Very interesting. See, I've always had a problem with Google search results, because Google, it's not that they are dominant on the market, it's that they're not usually always very accurate. And I mean that to say that Google, and I've said this before, Google always brings you, when you look for if you're doing a search in Google, it's automatically attuned, its algorithms and whatever else, to find the most popular result. The most popular result is not always the most correct result. It's supposed to cross-reference, from what somebody once explained to me, the most popular with the most likely result, but it doesn't. It's always just the most popular, which oftentimes is the most correct, but in a large number of cases it isn't. And so I don't use it. I don't use Google search for pretty much anything. I always use Bing, which is getting worse. Microsoft used to be pretty good, but they heavily censor their results. They have a little tagline at the bottom that says, some results have been removed, find out why. And you can't go and have those results that were removed added back in. They decided that, hey, you know what, these results aren't good for you, so we're taking them out. And they could be just harmless. It could be they were junk, or it could be spam sites, or it could be whatever. But I think I reserve the right to know myself. You know? I should be able to make that decision myself. And they don't let me. Then there's DuckDuckGo, which is kind of throttled by the bigger guys. So they don't come up with as much as you're looking for either, unfortunately. They don't track your results. They don't track your search history, which is great, but they also don't give you access to as much as the other guys do, because the other guys have the market cornered. So internet search has long been kind of the bane of my existence, because I know there's information on certain things that I've looked up, but I always come up with terrible results no matter where I go. Despite the fact that I know there's better results out there, and I know there's people putting up what I'm looking for. I just don't have access to it. I don't know why. Because of the algorithm or whatever. So this might be a good thing, or it might just open up more avenues of junk search. I don't know. I hope it's the former. We'll see how it goes. Loudwire. I'm not going to get into this story, but I'm going to bring it up for you. Why Motley Crue producer Tom Werman says Nikki Sixx's autobiography is inaccurate. I don't really have a personal stake in that. I haven't ever really been a big Motley Crue fan, so I don't really care. But if you would like to know what he's talking about and what parts of it are inaccurate, go to Loudwire and check it out. And this is clickbait, but this is kind of the fun clickbait. I don't check this kind of stuff because I think it's silly, because I already have my own pets here that do silly pet things. But if you're interested, Newsweek says cat's hilarious reaction to seeing her owner take a bath delights viewers. So if you'd like to find that out, I'm sure it's endearing. I like cats. I have cats. And they do all kinds of silly things around here, in addition to stabbing me repeatedly with their claws on a daily basis, despite my feeding them, giving them a warm home, comfortable place to live, you know. Very grateful of them to stab me with their claws all the time, giving me scars up and down my arms, legs. A little bitter about that. But I take care of them. So I have my own funny, in addition to very violent, cat stories. But if you would like to see this one, go to Newsweek. Washington Post World says opposition declares victory in Poland election while vote count continues. Let's see if this is paywalled or not. It is paywalled, so I can't look it up. But there was an important election in Poland. If you'd like to find out how that's going, go to Washington Post. Whew. Now, this is a big one. This could impact a lot of people. From Reuters, drug retailer Rite Aid files for bankruptcy. Gets $3.45 billion commitment. We have Rite Aids around here. We have CVS. We have Walgreens, as far as like pharmacy types. And you can get, pharmacies and other grocery stores and things like that. But those are the big ones that were primarily that, like, pharmacy is the big part of them, regardless of whatever else. And all these guys have been trying to diversify into other things, like into groceries and into household goods and all kinds of things, just to stay afloat. And it appears not to be really doing them many favors, especially with people like Walmart and everybody else who are doing the pharmacy thing and offering so much other things at the same time. So if this, it doesn't say that they're going to close down any stores. I assume they will, probably, because that's usually what happens inevitably. And Reuters is paywalled, so I can't follow up on it. But if they do start closing things down, I mean, that's going to impact a lot of people. It's getting more and more difficult to get your prescription medication. And I'm not a person who relies on that myself. I don't have prescription medication. But I know people that do, and I know how difficult it is just to find the right place for your insurance, and you sometimes have to drive many miles just to get what you need. So hopefully that situation is not as dire as it sounds. Reuters says South Korea to hold its largest defense show in bid to boost global sales. The weapons game, I don't like it. I don't like it. It's just fueling all of these conflicts all over the place. I mean, it's fine if you make weapons for yourself, but the more you make weapons and sell them to everybody else, the worse the global conflicts are getting. And that's why the United States is in such a poor position, because it is constantly fueling everyone else's battles with weapon sales. And we frequently have sold weapons to people who hate us on a regular basis. Like, why? What's the point? Maybe you think you're going to harm their economy by taking away as much money for all these guns and things? Whatever. They're just going to use those guns to shoot at us or shoot at their neighbors and then whatever. The United States is the number one state sponsor of terrorism in the United States, in the world. The United States is the number one state sponsor of terrorism in the world. I said it. I don't feel bad about it. I don't make those decisions, so it's got nothing to do with me. But looking at it, you can tell, because most of our weapons that we sell end up in the hands of people who hate us or who hate people that we're supposed to protect, or innocent people or whatever. If we kept all of our weapons to ourselves, maybe we wouldn't have that problem. But we don't. We sell them all over the globe. And it comes back to bite us. So that's just the facts. It's very unfortunate. ABC News with more along those same lines in this developing situation. Israeli military prepares for, quote, coordinated strikes and significant ground operations. So they are fully committed to moving in and eliminating Hamas. I'm sure Hezbollah will be next, at least on the list, if they're successful with one or the other. I don't know. I don't. They're supposed to have one of the best militaries, one of the most highly trained militaries in the world, and we're going to see how that works and how things are going to fare. It's going to be worse before it gets better. This whole situation is going to be far worse before it gets better. NBC Politics supplemental funding request for aid to Israel and Ukraine should come this week. Don't give them anything, is my opinion. Let these people stand on their own. The United States caused the problem with the Ukraine by pushing Russia into a corner. Maybe if we take ourselves out of the equation, then maybe Russia will calm down. Maybe. Can't guarantee it. They need to have talking to. We need to sit around some tables, do some talking. As far as Israel goes, like I just said with the last story, most well-trained military in the world. Let them do what they do. Stay out of the way. Don't give them any more aid. They clearly have everything under control. If they're moving in and doing all these strikes, let them do what they want to do. I'm not saying let them go in and like murder people and do that kind of stuff. I'm not saying like let them go in and just indiscriminately whatever. But don't help them out with extra weapons and ammo. Don't give them money for that. Don't give them weapons. They make their choices, just like Hamas made their choices. Don't fund any of these people. Don't fund them. It seems pretty common sense to me, but common sense is not a part of global politics. Continuing with that, I don't want to pound your head with too many of these stories, but it's like I said, I've said this several days. It's dominating the news cycle, so a lot of the stories are going to be that. ABC News says Gaza-Egypt border not open yet for foreign evacuees. There's a lot of red tape. There's a lot of different political pressure. There's a lot of stuff going on before they get all this stuff done, but it's going to get worse before it gets better. Like I said, people are trying to get out. Borders are going to be jammed up, and the borders are going to become a target. They will probably become a target for both sides, unfortunately. And I foresee a lot of innocent people falling victim. And that's real sad. That is real sad. None of it should have happened. But who am I to judge, I guess? NBC2 News forecast sweater weather is moving into southwest Florida. It is getting colder. Fall is coming. Even places like Florida are feeling the bite of the chill air. And here in Ohio, I know we've had a lot of cold weather. Today was pretty chilly. Today was a chilly one. And we had some cold rain and things of that nature. And yeah, fall is on the way. Halloween is coming, followed by Thanksgiving. And then you can worry about your Christmas stuff. I won't do too much of that. I'm not into holidays myself, but my daughter is excited for Halloween, especially because her birthday is the day before. So she's going to get a double dose of celebration. Moving on. Reuters. South Africa recalls UN peacekeepers accused of sexual misconduct in Congo. That's very unfortunate. There's people who've been sent to try to keep the peace in a volatile region, and they're being accused of taking advantage of their position on the native population, which unfortunately is a thing that happens often throughout history with people who are supposed to be protectors. And I'm not going to excuse it. I'm not going to say, oh, well, it happens, because it shouldn't. But it doesn't surprise me. It's kind of a bad news day today, isn't it? Like everything's just a downer today. It's a case of the Mondays. Does anybody ever say you've got a case of the Mondays? No, man. I believe you get your backside whooped if you say something like that. That's not how the quote goes, but trying to keep from using too much poor language on this show here. Oh, that's too bad. Ooh, now this isn't good. From Tech Radar, some iPhone 15 Pro Max users are reporting OLED screen burn-in. Ooh. You haven't really seen this badly since plasma in the TVs, and plasma has been on the way out for a while now. And LEDs, occasionally you could get ghosting, which was a light form of burn-in, but it was temporary. It would usually go away. But apparently the new OLEDs, some of them, especially in the phones. Ah, man, if you had a phone with burn-in on it, can you imagine? Can you imagine everything like stuck like that, like messing up everything that you look at? Oh, that would be rough. I don't like the sound of that at all. It's a good thing I don't use Apple products as far as phones go. I use my Samsungs. I haven't heard of any problems with them, but then I don't have the super high end, like absolute latest one because I don't need that. I have a generation or two behind and I'm satisfied with that. But yikes. Another one from Reuters. Iraq and the United Arab Emirates Crescent launched deals to develop 3 oil and gas fields. And it's what I've been saying. Here in the United States, everybody's so focused on, oh, we got to get away from fossil fuels and we got to do this, we got to do that, and everything like that. But the rest of the world, and no matter how much they talk about climate goals and things like that, like in Europe and whatever, there's still like everybody knows you need the oil. Everybody knows you need it for petroleum, for your plastics, and for so many things that we use. And the rest of the world is going to continue to rely on this kind of stuff, no matter what we do here in the United States. So all the climate people are just going to have to deal with it. There's nothing they can do. At least not now. Not until things like hydrogen power really take off. Or geothermal or something like that. But geothermal can be real corrosive and things. You get a lot of sulfur and whatnot. So, oh, I don't know if there's really great alternatives. The big alternative right now is nuclear. And that's going to be a tricky thing because of like Fukushima and all that, and the grids that apparently are able to be hacked more commonly in our nuclear plants. So tough area to be in as far as energy these days. But oil is not going away, at least for most of the rest of the world. Fox 10 out of Phoenix. Drug called Monjaro, typically for diabetes treatment, helped dieters lose 60 pounds in new study. And I don't think we should focus on that. Like that other thing that what was it? Ozempic. I don't remember. It was something like that. What was it for? It was some other ailment that it was for, but it also apparently was being like, oh yeah, it's a great weight loss drug. If it's not designed to cause you to lose weight, it just happens to do so by circumstance. Don't you think that's probably a side effect? Don't you think that it's dangerous that it's causing people to lose weight? Doesn't that sound wrong to you if it's supposed to do one thing, but it's also causing people to lose weight? Isn't that a problem? So this thing here, it's supposed to be for diabetes, and they're going to start saying, oh, yeah, that can help you lose weight. I don't think that's a good thing. I don't think that's a good thing. I think that's a bad thing. That is a side effect, not something good. Okay? Please don't start doing this with every drug out there. Oh my gosh. Vulture, I've seen this from a couple other people though, so Vulture's not the originator of this story. Very unfortunate. Suzanne Summers, star of Three's Company, and the show that I actually first saw her on when I was a kid, Step by Step on TGIF, dead at 76. It's a respectable age, and she was active all the way to the end. As far as I'm aware, she did like exercise equipment and food and like weight loss food or something like that. She did all kinds of things, and she was still going on. And the stuff I saw her on was kind of funny. She was a smart person who played the quote unquote dumb blonde thing really well, and she knew it, and she did it on purpose. And she also liked to pretend like when she was she would do movies and roles where she'd pretend to be a dumb blonde and then turn around the tables on other people and be like, yeah, see, I'm not so dumb after all. And I think that was good. It's good to get rid of stereotypes like that because I grew up with all that kind of stereotypical stuff. And I'm not saying that dumb blonde is a real thing. I'm not trying to perpetuate a stereotype. I'm just saying that when she would do those roles, that's what she would lean on, but she would flip the script on it. And I appreciate that. Like I said, I saw her back on those Step by Step days, and I don't remember a whole lot about that show, but I remember some of it. That and Family Matters with Urkel and all that. They did that crossover episode between the two shows, Step by Step and Family Matters, where Urkel like took a jetpack from one show and landed in the other one. It was so dumb. Whatever. Anyway, yeah. So Suzanne Summers dead at 76, unfortunately. But it was a productive life. Productive life. PennLive.com with something that's probably obvious. Many soda fountains are filthy, full of horrible superbugs. Study. Well, says the study. Probably. Do you know how often these machines get cleaned out? Probably never. When they're low on product, low on syrup and whatever, you know what they do? They just refill them. They don't open them up and scrub them out and clean them out between empties. They don't do that. I've worked in restaurants before. They just keep adding more things to them. Who knows? I was never at a restaurant where they had an actual schedule for cleaning the soda machine. I've never seen that done. Now, that doesn't mean it doesn't in some restaurants, in some places, but I've never seen it done in anything that I worked at. So, not surprising. Not surprising. Oh, let's see. Is there anything else? Consequence of Sound, Death Grips. Oh, what did these crazy guys do now? Death Grips walk off stage mid-set after being pelted by glow sticks. Let me see why they were pelted by glow sticks. Was it a bad show? Was it just because people were throwing stuff for no good reason? Huh. According to NME, fans threw objects at the band several times throughout the show. MC Ride, one of the guys in the band, left the stage and came back more than once before ultimately abandoning the gig for real. The trio of Death Grips was 25 songs into their reportedly 29-song set when they ended the performance. As a Reddit user who attended the show recounted, quote, someone threw a phone at them and Ride threw the mic on the ground and walked off and back. Someone threw a glow stick that hit him in the chest and he walked off, back and waiting for more. Another glow stick was thrown and they left. Fair is fair. And they have fan shot footage of the incident on Consequence of Sound if you'd like to see it. Now that I can understand. Death Grips has a reputation for thinking that they're high art and setting up tours and then canceling at the last second or not showing up for their own shows and then saying, oh yeah, it was just a stunt, whatever, leaving people out their money and whatnot. But this sounds like it was one of those legitimate things. I don't know what the deal is with people throwing stuff on stage these days. It apparently isn't even a thing where it's like, oh yeah, we think they were doing bad and we booed and we wanted them off the stage. It was just they're just throwing stuff. And I don't know why. Like, we went through 3 years of having to be restricted on our show entertainment. And now we've got huge festivals that are packed with hundreds of bands every weekend. There's tours happening all over because these guys have to recoup all the money that they lost not being able to do anything. And we're throwing stuff at them? Like, why? Why? I don't know. It's bad behavior, I guess. I don't know what it is. Just bad behavior. But that's it. That's the news. That's everything I got for you today. It was a full half hour of news this morning. And I think we should go out for breakfast today. I think we should go out for breakfast. Let's go to someplace. What do you want to do? Around here, we've got places called Bob Evans. We've got Denny's. Denny's is hit or miss. I don't know. Bob Evans probably can find something there. But let's pick a spot. Let's you and me. We'll go out to breakfast. You're buying though. You're gonna treat your old buddy Spider. I'll get you next time. Okay? Deal. I'll have the car running. Don't be